In my previous video I made this flower, which was from a colour in the book written by the School of Manchester Embroidery, and now I'm doing the second motif, which is called a star. So they call these like petals rays in this pattern. The first time I made it, I ran out of enough stitches to be able to put 5 rays on it. So when I made this one, I very carefully tried to count and make sure I could put 5 on. I'll explain during the making of this motif what happened and why I was having problems. And my advice to anybody making this motif is add a few stitches. So on the first row add 2 stitches, so you'll have 4 extra stitches on the second row, which will then allow you enough room to make 5 rays on this motif. Originally, when motifs were made, they were personal patterns, weren't written down necessarily, and each person specialised in a particular thing. So some people made flowers, other people made leaves, and all that work then got assembled in a workshop and made into a piece of lace. So several different people would have worked on one piece of lace. I'm going to work my way through the pattern and show you where I had problems and how I tried to solve it. So in my previous video I showed you how to find the Antique Patterns library, and I'm going to open the PDF now. And here we come to the description of the pattern. It's really nice the way all the motifs are arranged on that colour. So I'll read the description. It says, wind the padding thread 15 times round a mesh number 11. So I explained in my past video, a mesh is a kind of little shape. It's like a stick that comes in different sizes that you used to be able to buy, and I tend to use the back of a crochet hook or a pencil depending on the thickness of the thread. Then it says, with cotton work 25 double into the ring, so that's 25 single crochet. Work 2 treble into each double stitch and join. Make a cord of 3 strands of padding thread. So for the padding thread I use number 10 thread, and for the work itself I'll be using number 40 thread, and work it over 1 double into each treble stitch. So basically that's the first 3 rows. Then it says, first ray, leave the cord and work 3 chain, miss 1, 1 double, which means single, repeat from 4 times. So from that I read there should be 5 little loops on one flare, on one ray, and that would cover 10 stitches. So you'd have the first one where it's attached, and then every other stitch you would be putting a single crochet, so you'd have 10 stitches. So by rights you've got 50 stitches on the center, because you made 25 single crochet and then worked 2 treble into each double, so that would make 50 stitches, and it should work out at 5 different rays on the work. So we'll give that a try, and we'll try and make sure we get 5 this time. The rest of the pattern says 4 chain turn, 1 double into the first chain, 3 chain, 1 double into the next 3 chain. So you'd have 4 meshes there, and then it says repeat from 3 times more. So from the 3 first free chain, you repeat it 3 times more, and then repeat from the double star, which is here, twice more. Draw the thread through the loop to fasten it off, but do not break the thread. Let it lie along the side of the ray and begin again where you left the cord. Work double stitch the cord into the side of the ray. Turn the corner with 5 double and 2 double over the cord into each free chain across the top. 5 double over the cord in the corner, double stitch over the cord down the second side. So double stitch, what do they mean? 2 stitches in each loop. Make 4 more rays exactly the same as the first. Fasten off neatly, overcasting the ends of cord on the wrong side. So this is the drawing they give of it. And now we're going to attempt to make it. So I'm going to start by getting some cord ready, and again I'm going to use about 1 yard. And again I'm going to be making it 4 strands rather than 3, because I find it easier to work with. And as a mesh, I'm using this ice lolly stick that I found. It's just the right size, and I need to make 15 turns on it. So I count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12, 13, 14, 15. I get my thread and my hook ready. This is number 10 and this is number 40. And my hook is a 0.75 millimeter. So I slip the ring off the stick very, very gently. Squeeze it between my fingers, and in the center put the hook and make a single crochet to attach it. So I need to make 25 single crochet into the ring. Put 20 in and I need room for 5 more. So I just slip the stitches back. I make a slip stitch into the first one. That's the first row done. I'll cut these tails off. So that's the first row and the ring. So now we need to make 2 trebles in each stitch. I start off by chaining 3. That'll count as the first treble. So I finish the trebles and I make a slip stitch into the top of the 3 chain at the beginning. Now I need to pick up the cord, and we're going to add the cord. So I slip my hook through the loops. See, that's why I find it easier to do 4 strands than 3, and I pull the chain through. So now they ask you to make a single crochet into each stitch all around. So I'm holding the cord between my 2 fingers and putting a little bit of tension on it. You stick your hook into the stitch around the cord and pull through. If you look round the back, sometimes you have a bit of cord sticking out, so if you pull the threads, it'll smooth out. So I've reached the end, and I make a slip stitch into the first stitch, pull the thread through. So now I come to the part where I struggled last time, and this time I'm going to try to make sure that each flare doesn't, or each ray doesn't use more than 10 stitches, so that I've got enough room for 5. So they say to chain 3, skip 1 stitch, and make a single crochet, chain 3, so I need to do that 5 times in all. So that's the first row. Then they say chain 4, make a single crochet in the first loop, and then you need to do chain 3 more times. So I'm just gonna check. So the way they put it is chain 4, turn 1 double into the first 3 chain, 3 chain, 1 double into the next 3 chain, repeat from 3 times more. So that means I need to, so chain 3 into the next loop, and this I need to repeat 3 times more. So that's the next row then. Then it says repeat from the double star twice more. So I presume it's that last row I need to repeat twice more. So chain 4, single crochet into the first loop, and then chain 3, turn around, chain 4 into the next one, so I've repeated that last row twice. So now they want you to pull the thread through, so you make the loop large, pass your cotton through, and now you leave the thread, you guide it along the side, make a stitch. But here's the problem. I think this is how you end up losing enough space. I need to start at the base of the very first 3 chain, because otherwise I'm taking away one from one of the I'm taking away space from the last ray. So maybe what happened was that by not taking that into account, I ended up with too little space to put a 5th in, and that's why I made that last ray a little bit bigger, so that I could finish the motif. So I pull the thread through, and then I leave a bit of thread loose. It doesn't matter because we're going to cover that with cord. I pick up the cord, and now I'm going to crochet along this edge. It just says work in double stitch along the side. What I'm going to do is I'm going to place 2 single crochet in each mesh along the cord. So this would be the corner, and in the corner I need to make 5. And along the top it says to make 2 double crochet into each loop. So now I make the next corner. I'm going to make sure that the cord's lying flat, and here I put in another 5. And then it says again double stitch over the side, so I'll be placing 2 more or less in each space. And I'm going to place 1 at the place where the last chain of the first row joined. I'm sticking in the same stitch because again, if I use the second stitch, I'm again robbing space for the last flare. So with a little bit of help, with a little bit of luck, this will help me put in 5 of these. So now I've finished this flare, I'm going to make a single crochet in the next stitch, and that'll be the start. So I've made 4 rays on this star, and I've got the same problem I had with my previous one. In this one I've got 7 stitches instead of the 10 I need. So I'm going to finish it off, and I'm going to double up on some stitches so I can fit it in. But the next time I make this motif, I will be adding a few more stitches to the center ring so that I've got enough room to make the 5 rays with ease. So instead of making a single crochet into the first stitch like I've done with the others, I'm going to chain 3 straight away, and make a single crochet into the first stitch so that I save a chain. The reason why I've been reluctant to do that is because each ray finishes off nicely near the center of the ring, whereas here there's going to be a gap. So I've changed my mind. For the middle one, I'm going to use the next stitch rather than leave one in between, because it'll be less noticeable there. And now I'll finish the petal off. Always make sure that that little tail is longer than the side. That way you know it's not going to be too tight. So now I've finished, I adjust the cord. And there's my star. So I think I know what the problem is, why you run short of stitches for the last flare, and it's because every time I started a new one I made a single crochet first before I made the first free chain. I think if you omit that you'll have the right number of stitches, but rather than to do that I'm just going to add a few more stitches to the center. So if I do 27 instead of 25 I'll have enough space to make sure that there's enough room with ease. So the difference isn't really marked, but this one is definitely a little bit narrower than the others. So here we have the two stars side by side. This is the first I made, and this is the one with the 5 flares.